My name is Stacy. Standing in the county courthouse, the weight of the moment presses down on me. The courtroom is filled with familiar faces, neighbors, coworkers, and church members. But today, they're here as witnesses to the battle I've been waging against my own parents. It all started on a seemingly ordinary autumn morning at the Evergreen Community Credit Union. I sat there, my fingers drumming restlessly on the armrest of a plush chair. The lobby smelled of freshly brewed coffee and the faint scent of cleaning products. My stepfather, Henry, had casually mentioned that it would just take a minute, a small refinance, as he sipped his coffee that morning. He needed my signature as a co-borrower. Then the bank manager, Mr. Thompson, slid some documents across his desk. His hands were shaking, and I knew right away that something was terribly wrong. "Miss Thompson, I'm afraid there are some inconsistencies with this signature," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Henry shifted in his seat beside me, his cologne suddenly overpowering. "What are you implying?" he demanded, looking at my mother, Grace, who sat stiffly, her lips pursed. "Mr. Thompson showed me a document with a signature that looked vaguely like mine, but wasn't. I was certain I'd never signed it. Henry tried to convince me that I had, but I remembered clearly that I was out of town on that day, working on an important project. When I refused to go along with it, Henry lost his temper. He lunged at me, shoving me hard. I stumbled backward and crashed into a rope divider, the loud clang silencing the entire lobby. In that moment, the realization hit me like a tidal wave. This was identity theft, committed by my own parents. I turned to my mother, my voice trembling. "Did you know about this?" She couldn't meet my eyes. Instead, she stared at her hands, which were twisting a tissue into shreds. I quickly called my brother, Jake. He arrived at the bank in a hurry, leaving his carpentry project behind. His calloused hands, which had taught me so many things over the years, gently examined the scratch on my collarbone. Looking at him, I knew I had to take a stand. A few days later, I sat in the office of my lawyer, Ms. Reed. She spread out credit reports on her desk, and the numbers made my head spin. There were over $60,000 in fraudulent debts in my name. Based on the bank records, Henry had been using my identity for at least 2 years, and he had an accomplice, a loan officer named Mr. Davis. As we dug deeper, more secrets came to light. Henry had a history of gambling debts and failed investments. Grace, on the other hand, secretly owned a small rental property while constantly complaining about financial hardship to me. They'd been gathering information about my work, bonuses, and savings for a long time. They'd even intercepted my mail when I was out of town. One day, Jake found Henry's old laptop. On it, I discovered a detailed spreadsheet tracking all my accounts, credit limits, and payment schedules. There were also emails between Henry and Mr. Davis discussing how to forge my signature. Grace had helped him find the perfect signature from an old keepsake of mine. Armed with this evidence, we confronted Henry and Grace at their house. I presented them with a restraining order. Henry tried to bluff his way out, but when he saw the determination in my eyes, he signed the order with a shaking hand. However, they didn't give up easily. My apartment was broken into, and everything was destroyed. Red spray, painted words on the wall read, "Family First." It was a clear warning, but it only strengthened my resolve. Ms. Reed informed me that Henry had been asking about her previous cases, trying to find a way to discredit me. We worked day and night to strengthen our security and gather more evidence. The day before the court hearing, Henry vandalized our family cabin. He also filed an emergency petition claiming I was mentally unstable. But we were prepared. Jake had installed wildlife cameras at the cabin, and they captured Henry in the act of vandalism. The prosecutor issued an arrest warrant for Henry. That night, I received a call saying that he had been detained. Now, in the courtroom, Henry's attorney tries to paint this as a simple family misunderstanding. Grace takes the stand, her performance of a concerned mother almost convincing. But Ms. Reed starts her cross-examination, systematically dismantling their lies. As the evidence piles up, Henry's facade crumbles. When the prosecutor presents the spreadsheet, his face turns pale. The judge expands the restraining order to include Grace and orders all their assets to be frozen. Finally, it's my turn to give a victim impact statement. I stand up, my legs surprisingly steady. Your Honor, today ends the betrayal, but the hurt remains. Families should be about protection, not exploitation. They stole more than just money. They stole my trust and my sense of safety. The judge commends my courage and sentences Henry to 14 years for identity theft, bank fraud, and witness intimidation. Grace may face conspiracy charges depending on further investigation. After the hearing, as I step out of the courthouse into the rain, I feel a sense of relief. The support from my brother, my lawyer, and the community has been overwhelming. I know that this battle has changed me, but it has also made me stronger. In the months that followed, my credit score began to recover. I got a well-deserved promotion at work. I also started to help others who had been victims of identity theft, sharing my story and the knowledge I'd gained. 1 year after that fateful day at the credit union, I'm sitting in the same lobby. I notice an elderly woman being pressured by her son to sign a document. I approach them and offer a free financial review. The son is annoyed, but the woman is interested. I know that by speaking up, I can prevent another family from going through what I did. Looking back, I realize that some family ties are meant to be broken so that something healthier can grow. I've learned to value the family I've chosen, Jake, MS, Reed, and the wonderful people who stood by me during this difficult time.